Hey guys, David Nutting here, fitness coordinator and personal trainer at Club Greenwood. Today I want to walk you through what I think are the best exercises, strength as well as stretch for the rotator cuff. How many of you have a rotator cuff problem? I know that you probably are watching this or at least to be able to learn something from it, and I do as well. It's on the right side. So these have really been helping and working for me. I'm going to show the anatomy here in a minute, so stay tuned, but I'm going to show the strength and then we're going to show the stretches. So stay tuned here. As part of the rotator cuff, the supraspinatus, pictured here, is the smallest of the rotator cuff muscles, and it abducts. It lifts your arm away from your body. 0 to 15 degrees is the main prime mover, or what we call agonist. And it also assists the deltoid, so the shoulder, to produce abduction up to 90 degrees. The big yellow part pictured here is your shoulder blade or scapula. So the supraspinatus travels underneath the acromion, which is a continuation of the scapular spine, and it hooks around to the clavicle. Acromion simply means highest shoulder in Greek, or Greek, if you've seen those movies. And it forms the AC joint in the shoulder, or acromioclavicular joint, which is kind of a mouthful. The second of the rotator cuff muscles is the infraspinatus. It's pictured here. This would be a person looking the other direction. It is the main external rotator of the shoulder joint. It also assists in producing shoulder extension. So think of having the arm swing back behind you. The third muscle of the rotator cuff is the teres minor, and this pictured here, so you can see where the line kind of pulls in on it. It lies below the infraspinatus and also assists in external rotation, adduction, so think of pulling the arm toward your body, and extension of the shoulder, so putting back behind you again. Along with the other rotator cuff muscles, the teres minor provides stability to the shoulder joint, and it helps to hold the humeral head and the glenoid cavity of the scapula. Fourth of the rotator cuff muscles is the subscapularis, which is pictured here. This would be a person facing towards you, so it'd be the right shoulder. It's a large triangular shaped muscle that originates from the subscapular fossa. The term subscapularis means under or sub, and then the scapula is the wing bone. It is the largest and strongest muscle of the rotator cuff and the primary mover for internal rotation of the humerus. It helps in shoulder adduction, so pulling your arm towards you, and extension, so think of putting it back behind you as well. Referred pain from trigger points in the subscap concentrates in the posterior shoulder region and into the shoulder blade region and down the back of the upper arm, which is something pretty interesting in that area. Sometimes even going all the way down to the wrist. Anyone who does a throwing motion may feel tenderness there. An overworked subscap may also make you feel like you are not able to lift your arm very high. And so a lot of times if somebody's trying to lift their arm up, that might be a subscapularis issue. It's often responsible for a frozen shoulder, along with the levator scapula, which is a contributor for that as well. Okay, now that I showed you the anatomy, so let's take a look at those four muscles. First, we're going to look at the supraspinatus. That's usually going to be the most common problem as far as the rotator cuff. Supraspinatus is working with abduction, so it's going to work on that first 15 to 30 degrees, and then it helps a little bit, but it's the primary mover. When you move your arm out, if you feel I kind of feel some tightness there, then that's going to be a lot of times the supraspinatus that you'll feel kind of pulling into that area. What you want to do is stand nice and tall. You'd start with body weight and then start to add some weight. You don't want to go too heavy on it, but we're not going to go straight flexion or straight abduction. We're going to go right in the middle. It's called scaption or Y's. And when we're doing this, you want to grip something tight. So I don't want to feel it from here. I want to feel it between the shoulder blades. Contract between the shoulder blades. So that's the first one. You want to go through about 10 to 15 reps. You could work through 2 or 3 sets there on doing that one. Next exercise is you'd wrap a band or something really light around something that you might be able to use, anything that's assisted there. Set the shoulder down, and what you're going to try to do is grip real tight, and now we're going to work infraspinatus and teres minor. So we're working those external rotators. Great exercise, getting those pulling back into that movement. And then subscapularis, so that's the last one, is we would go internal rotation. Without letting the shoulder collapse, you want to stay tall. Keep that elbow tucked in tight for both of these two exercises. Another one for the rotator cuff that really works well is if you just take those elbows in, pull the shoulders back, and then we're just coming back at this angle, almost like you're hitchhiking back. You want to think of those thumbs pulling back without letting the shoulders lift or the elbows lift. From here. Now think of what you're working there. So that's the external rotation, and that's the infraspinatus and teres minor. We're also getting the lower trapezius, which pulls the upper traps back. So all of these areas, those are going to be good strengthening. Those are going to be some of your best go-tos. One other one that I would recommend, and I got plenty of them, but I'm just going to show you a few, is it's called a pendulum swing. And you can kind of even let your body shift with it, but anytime you can kind of just let the arm motion through, it's pulling it in a protraction, and so that's going to be really good in the shoulder joint. So now let's jump in on the stretches. The great thing with the rotator cuff is you don't want to just strengthen it, and that's something I think that I had been doing for too many years. You want to actually stretch it as well, so that what it'll do is create better range of motion and movement. So with the abduction, so think of the supraspinatus, which helps with that abduction. We're going to reverse it, so think of the opposite. So now you put your hands on your hips. A great stretch is you're going to adduct. Now we're just kind of collapsing the elbows forward, collapsing the shoulders in, holding that for about 30 seconds. Another one is if you can find any kind of a pull, a dowel rod, anything that's going to work. Infraspinatus and teres minor. So you think of that external rotation again. What we're going to do is we're going to take the arm back here. I'm pulling from here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to pull and then lift out. So I'm not only pulling up, but I'm going to then start kind of pulling out. So once I kind of hit my range of motion there, what I do is I stay tall without letting my body bend forward, and I'm letting this arm come out. If you can kind of see that angle where I'm kind of pulling forward, and I'm kind of showing you all the different angles there. I'm getting a great stretch, so there I'm internally rotating, and that's going to stretch that external rotator, the infraspinatus and teres minor. The last one is think of what the muscle is doing first. So the subscapularis is internal rotation, and this one has become kind of my new favorite. What you're going to do is kind of think of having it like a back scratcher. We'll do it here from the left side. Back scratcher, so I'm holding here. Then I'm going to pull under, so I'm just going to try to grab here. Now what I'm doing is I'm opening back, so I'm getting that external pull, and then you just want to hold it. Relax that shoulder down. Now a great way to do that without a pull is just hold here, and then you just gently pull back. Think of a pitcher. We're kind of getting that pull in there. It's going to work great. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, now's a great time to subscribe. Click like. Please let me know how this is working for you, and I'll see you again soon.